A very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Akshay Palande and I will be teaching you economics in this session. Actually, this session is part of the M2K series. M2K series was started by Mahesh Kulkarni sir, and he actually started this series to reach out to the people who cannot attend coaching or coaching classes or tuitions physically. So this series actually, that is www.m2k-education.com, is meant for online lectures. You can go online and check out the lectures that are there for economics, geography, history. Then there is CSAT that is there, that is the paper 2 of UPSC. Or you can also refer to our lectures for other competitive exams like MPSC, CDS, SSC. Okay. So this lecture actually will begin with myself. I will introduce myself first. My name is Akshay Palande and I have done my BTech in mechanical engineering, and currently I am also pursuing UPSC. Along with that I am teaching. Okay. So this lecture of mine will cover all the aspects of economics. Okay. Why is economics important from UPSC point of view? Okay. Last 3 years, that is in 2011, there were 18 questions of 100 questions, from 100 questions. In 2012, there were 12 questions, and in 2013, again there were 18 questions. So currently, the amount of questions that are asked in history and geography are going down. Compared to that, the amount of questions that are asked in economics are going up. Okay. The questions related to economics in UPSC are usually based on current affairs or basic simple macroeconomic indicators. Now I'll tell you what is macro and micro later on, but first I will like to tell you what is the portion of economics in UPSC prelims. Okay. They've just given a short sentence like economic development, and in this they have added many factors like sustainable development, inclusive growth, poverty, social sector schemes, etc. Okay. So this is the only sentence that is given regarding to economics in the UPSC prelim syllabus. So we will be covering all these aspects in a variety of ways. That I will come to soon. But first, I would like to talk about the books that you have to refer to if you want to study for the prelims. Okay. The first and foremost important book that you have to study is NCERT. In that, there is a book called as Introduction to Macroeconomics. Okay. It's a 12th standard textbook. This is the basic book that you have to read if you want to appear for UPSC. After that, you have to read Indian Economy by Dutt and Sundaram. Okay. The third thing that is important from UPSC point of view is Economic Survey. Economic Survey is a basic document published by the Government of India, and it is very important. Okay. Before the budget, the Economic Survey is presented by the Government of India, and this document is very important. Usually 3 to 4 questions are directly asked from the Economic Survey. Okay. So, and the fourth most important book is India Yearbook. Now this book again is published by the Government of India every year. In that there are various chapters on agriculture, industry, services, etc. which are very important from UPSC point of view. In those chapters, they have given the various schemes that are implemented by the government and which will be implemented by the government, and it is very important from UPSC point of view to know these schemes. Okay, so these are the 4 things that you have to refer to for prelims. For mains, Dutt and Sundaram and India Yearbook. Along with that, you have to go through the current events that are happening in the papers. Okay, this is very important because most of the questions that will be asked in UPSC will be based on current events. Okay, so now coming to what is micro and macro economics. Okay, basically there are 2 types of economics. One is micro and one is macro. Okay. Now microeconomics is actually an economics related to a specific factory or a specific company. It has a lot of factors in it, like the raw material that has come in, the production that is happening, and the production that is going out. Okay, so it is related to a small factory. So naturally, microeconomics is not of so much importance to us from UPSC point of view, because you will not be going into a factory and work, organizing the factory or something. From your point of view, from a UPSC aspirant point of view, from a CDS aspirant point of view, or from a SSC point of view, aspirant point of view, macroeconomics is very, very important. Why? Because it deals with a lot of factors like GDP, that is gross domestic product, then there is gross national product, then there is national income, okay. A lot of other factors like inflation, which I will be teaching you in my next sessions, okay. So macroeconomics from our point of view is very important. Micro is not. Do not go into microeconomics. You will come across more accounting and financial management terms which are not important from UPSC point of view. Okay. Now coming to the portion that is there related to UPSC. See, I told you before there is just one sentence that is given in UPSC, and from that sentence I have derived a portion which you will have to study. These will basically be sectors or modules that you will have to be well acquainted with. Okay, so I will go through the modules one by one. The first one is national income, and development. Now basically in this module you will be learning about what is GDP, GNP, what is the Human Development Index, Human Poverty Index, how they affect the country, how does GDP affect the country, a lot of these factors. Okay, so basically how a country is growing, how its development is there, what are the factors that indicate a country's growth and its development will be discussed in this module. Okay, so now the next module that will be there is, second is inflation and monetary policy. Basically, inflation is price rise, and the monetary policy that is given by the Reserve Bank of India every 2 months, okay, is used, monetary policy that is given by the Reserve Bank of India every 2 months is used to control this inflation. So in order to know what is the monetary policy and its uses, we have to know first what are the types of inflation that are there. So in one of my sessions I will be covering this. Okay. The third session will talk about the fiscal policy. Remember, the monetary policy is given by the Reserve Bank of India, and the fiscal policy is given by the government. Now what is the fiscal policy? Basically, fiscal policy is the policy or the budget that is given by the government. Every year the government comes out with a budget in which it increases taxes, decreases taxes, there are new social sector schemes where more money is given, or there are social sector schemes where money is reduced. Regarding these, the fiscal policy deals with these things. Okay, so this is the third module that I will be talking about or explaining in one of my sessions. The fourth module that I will be explaining in one of my sessions is taxation. Here I have given a complete module to taxation. Why? Because even Einstein has said this once. It is easier to know what is physics. It is easier to uncover physics, the concepts of physics, but taxation is harder than that. So everyone actually believes that taxation is harder, and I want to explain you these concepts in a very detailed manner so that they are very, you are conceptually very strong when it comes to taxation. Because you forget the UPSC part, but taxation is very important in our day-to-day life as well. Because we as middle class or we as citizens of India pay taxes, and I personally feel you should know what these taxes are, how they work, what these taxes are used for, and etc. etc. Okay. And the fifth module that I will be covering is money market and capital market. Now in this module basically we will be talking about how the government or corporations, that is private companies but which are big corporations like Tatas and Birlas, how they borrow money from the market. Okay. Now money market is related to short-term borrowings, that is from 1 year, so less than 1 year, okay, from 14 days to less than 1 year. Whereas capital market is related to long-term borrowing, that is more than a year. If you are borrowing money for more than a year, it is in capital markets. Okay, so this is the fifth module that I will be talking about. Okay, now coming to the sixth module that is there. I'll rub this off because there is no space on my board, as you can see. The sixth module that is there is banking systems and stock market. Now what are the banking systems? Okay, first I'll talk about the banking system. Basically India's finance, or in India, most of the money that is lent out is by the banking system. So I'll be talking about how the banking system works, who is the regulator of banking system, what are the sectors that it finances, what are the tools that are used by the banking system, what are the tools that are used by the regulator to control the banks that are there. In general, I'll just give you a short example, this is a short introduction to banking. Now, banking in India is basically controlled by the Reserve Bank of India, and it has a lot of tools like cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, etc., which are used by the RBI to control the amount, control the banks that are the commercial banks, like the private banks that are there. There are nationalized banks like SBI and its associates. There is Bank of Baroda. These are nationalized banks. What are the private banks? Private banks are Yes Bank, Kotak Mahindra. These are private banks. Okay. There are cooperative banks as well in India. So these banks are controlled by the Reserve Bank of India. Okay. Now coming to the stock market. What is the stock market? Basically the BSE, that is Bombay Stock Market, or the NSE, that is the National Stock Market. How money is raised through these stock markets, how companies are financed through these stock markets. I'll be talking about that. Who's the regulator of the stock market? How stock market is regulated? Okay. These things I will be talking about in this module. So basically I'll be taking 2 modules in a session at a time. So, that's about it. Now going to the next session, module, there will be foreign trade. There will be balance of payments and WTO and GATT. Now first I'll tell you what is foreign trade. Foreign trade basically relates to the import and export of a country. So I will be talking about the imports and exports of India, the various schemes that are given by the government of India to promote imports and exports, etc. etc. What is balance of payment is basically the imports that are there minus the exports. So if balance of payment, there is a very important concept called as current account deficit. You will be hearing this a lot number of times in the news. So I'll be explaining to you what is CAD, how it affects the economy, and how it affects the growth of a country. Okay. The next thing that I'll be talking about is WTO and GATT. Now, what is WTO? Basically, GATT came first, that is General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. From that evolved WTO, that is World Trade Organization. Okay. I will be talking about what is GATT, how that agreement was there, what were the points of that agreement. From that, I will shift to WTO. Currently, there is WTO going on, that is World Trade Organization, that is being run. Then I will be talking about its structures, what are the basic agreements that are going there, what are the basic conflicts that are going there, what is India's stand towards them. Okay. See, from UPSC point of view, it is very important to know when you are covering everything, what is India's stand or what is India's position in all of that. Okay. Always remember this, whatever you come across in international affairs or may be anything like a stock market, banking system, you have to compare it to India. What is India's stand? What are the present structures in India? What are the present institutions in India? Okay. So from this, I will be moving on to the various sectors, that is agriculture, industry, and services. Now these sectors are very important from our economy point of view. That is, a lot of people, see, today if India is earning 100 rupees, major share is by services, that is around 59.9%. Then there is industry, that is 20%. And then there is agriculture, around 20%. So I will be talking about the various shares in the economy by these sectors, how they are affected, what are the various components of these sectors, like agriculture. Now there are different components of agriculture. There is not just one type of agriculture. There is agriculture related to cereals, that is wheat and rice. There is agriculture related to cash crops, that is sugar cane, then oil seeds, then cotton. How they affect our economy, that is what I will be talking about. How exports of these or imports of these or selling of these products in the Indian market affect our economy as a whole. That is the main important thing that you have to always remember about it. Then I will be talking about industry, that is manufacturing of goods, of pens, of maybe fans, of lights, everything that is coming under manufacturing. I will be talking about that. From that we will move on to services, that is the basic services like the IT services, or you can talk about trade, etc., etc. So I will be talking about how the government is trying to promote these sectors, the various schemes that are there to promote these sectors, etc., etc. Okay, these are very important from UPSC point of view. The schemes that are promoting, that the government has to promote these sectors. People will not ask you the facts about these schemes, but they will definitely ask you questions related to these schemes. You will not be asked questions like whether there are 20,000 crore that is given or 30,000 crores. But you will be asked questions like, example I will give you is Manrega scheme that is currently going on. Is it related to people or the people that are, sorry, I'll explain it better. Manrega scheme that is going on, does it target people who are in below poverty line, above poverty line, minorities, SC, ST? These will be the option given to you. Now Manrega is actually for everyone below poverty line. It is not for a particular section of the society like minorities or SC, ST. Okay, so you have to remember these things, and you will only remember them if you go through the schemes that are there. Okay, so that is the 8th component that I will be covering, and finally I will be covering the Bretton Woods twins. Bretton Woods, BRETTON, Wood twins. Now, what are the Bretton Woods twins basically? Bretton Woods twins are basically IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, and World Bank. Okay. These are agencies that control the finance of the world. Basically, IMF is related to financing, short-term financing, that is less than 1 year. World Bank is related to financing developmental projects like the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan that is going on currently in India is financed by the World Bank. The polio drive that was going on in India was financed by the World Bank, etc. There are a lot of such developmental schemes in various states as well that are financed by the World Bank. Now these schemes are financed on soft loans. Now these loans, you would ask, what are soft loans? Now soft loans are basically loans that are given at a smaller interest rate and for a longer duration of time. Now the interest rate usually charged by IMF would be around 8 to 9%. But World Bank will give you loans at a interest rate of 2 to 1%. Now as I said, IMF is giving you loans for less than a year. Often it gives you loan for less than a year. World Bank will give you loan for 20 to 30 years. Okay. So basically these two organizations control the short term and the long term money that is required by the government. Now if India wants to finance, in 1991 what happened was India had less amount of forex reserves. That is, foreign exchange with Indian government was very less. So they decided to borrow from IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. At that time, International Monetary Fund financed our trade. But currently, there are various schemes that are being run by the World Bank as well in India. Now, what is India's stand in these organizations will be explained to you in my sessions as we go ahead, as you go through my session. What is India's quotas, what is quota system, what is special drawing rights, what are the various agencies of these two. There are various sub-agencies in both of these organizations. IMF has its own share of sub-agencies, World Bank has its own share of sub-agencies. I will be explaining you what these agencies are, what are their roles, how do they give loans, has India taken any loans from them, what is India's stand in both of these organizations, and so on and so forth. As you go through my lectures, you will come to know what is going on. So basically when we talk about economics, you will have to go through current affairs more, read newspapers. Now the newspapers that I would suggest to you would be Indian Express and Hindu. Apart from that, if you want to read any magazines, then please refer to Pratyogita, Darpan or Chronicle. Okay. So remember these things. What I will be teaching you here will be the basic concepts which you will have to know regarding economics. It's not like Akshay Palande has taught you something and that will directly come in the exams. No, these concepts will help you refer to newspapers. When you read newspapers or when you read your current affairs that are going on, what I will be teaching you will help you understand the concepts. Now when I am talking about World Bank and IMF, I will be teaching you what are the various agencies that are there. So it will help you understand how these agencies helped the Euro crisis or America or India in 1991. Okay. So when you are going through the current affairs that are going on, example, if there is a European crisis that is currently going on, so it will help you to refer to these things. So in UPSC it is said that when you're teaching, your job, learning through a teacher is not the entire thing. That is just 10% of what you have to learn on your own. So if you have a feeling that yes, sir is teaching you something and that is more than enough, no. You have to refer to papers, magazines, you have to refer to the various books that I earlier told you about, and from that you have to draw your own syllabus. You have to draw your own notes according to the syllabus. Okay. Now, as I said, this year more amount of questions, that is in 2014, 24th of August 2014, I am expecting more questions from economics, and we will be discussing about these questions later on, okay, in our sessions. So I will also be solving the various papers that previous year's papers, that is from 2012, 2013 as well, and 2014 when it comes out. But that will be further. Okay. Now that's about it regarding economics. If you like my lecture, please do go online on www.m2k-education.com, or if you have any doubts regarding UPSC or regarding economics in general, regarding UPSC in general and economics in specific, then call me on 922-184-9650. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed my lecture, my introductory lecture, where I've opened up the different topics of economics. I'm sure you might be having a lot of doubts regarding the various modules that I have created. What is, in banking system, you might be having various doubts regarding what is CRR, what is SLR, etc., etc. But as you go further in my sessions, I have explained each and every one of these concepts very deeply and very detailed manner. But even if you still have any doubts, you can always call me and ask. Okay. I hope you've understood whatever I've spoken about, and thanks a lot for hearing me out, and all the best for the